I definitely hear you saying you are not interested in even thinking about this question until it's convenient in June of next year. And I feel like there's some fundamental misconnections between where we're coming from. I assume if you saw a blatant, huge moral thing going on with Bank of America, if it was big enough and it caught the attention of your heart, you would take maybe at least a half hour to an hour to look into it to see if there's something there that, I mean, if you saw something that you saw morally wrong with the way Bank of America was operating, would you at least take an hour to do some research to consider it immediately?
Yes.
But you're not, but right now you're not, I mean, even after we delivered the letter, you weren't willing to take the 10 minutes to read the Texas Fed report. I mean, a major financial institution. So I feel like we haven't convinced you, even though we find this a moral issue, we haven't convinced you to believe there's any moral issue here.
No, I think you misread me.
Okay.
I'm not saying there isn't a moral issue. I'm saying I'm not acting on it right now.
Well, it's not a big enough moral issue for you to do anything right now. If it was big enough, we haven't convinced you it's big enough to do something right now.
And it's more of a moral issue. It's also a practical issue.
Okay. Okay, so I think it was Paul, no, it was Marcus, and Paul, and then Cindy, and then Michelle.
In the real world, there are a lot of people out of work and their houses are being foreclosed upon. But that's really not where I want to go with that. It's the fact that conglomerations like Bank of America, which kept buying up really bad investments over and over and over for the last 10, 15 years, they need to be broken up. And so the action we'd like to take is from the local level by pulling out your $1 million a day, our $1 million a day of liquid flow out of Bank of America. It's going to force them at a certain point to divest. And that's all we're asking for. We don't want them to fail. We want them to break up. So that's why I'm here. That's my point to make. They're heinous, and I wish you would research it. That's all.
One of the things that some of these large banks have been involved in is that they've been sued by, among other things, the attorney generals from most of the states in this country, as well as the U.S. attorney. And they found that these banks have engaged in heinous acts. I know there are standards that will prohibit us from doing business with other institutions that have engaged in such conduct or been found to be engaged in illegal or unethical conduct. I would ask that you consider applying those same standards to the banks based on what has been found in court.
Yeah, I think there is a moral and a practical issue here, as I understand it. And that is that one of the things that Bank of America is doing after our nation bailed them out is they've been denying loans to small businesses who have accounts receivable, they have payroll, and they have materials they have to pay for, and there's always a delay. I wish it weren't so, but a lot of these need those short-term loans to maintain. As I said, they put thousands of small businesses, probably in this county as well, and I'm not privy to that information, I don't have it available, out of business. And small business in this country is the backbone. I know a lot of it's secondary to large corporations, but that they hire more people than all these corporations. And particularly in a rural county, in a small community, small business is very important. I think it's very important in Port Townsend. So I think that's both a practical and a moral issue. And it's not so much we need to destroy the Bank of America, we need to stop supporting them. Because in my opinion, we are literally supporting, evil to me is a verb, it's not a thing, it's a verb. It's something that people do. And corporations don't do anything at all, and they have no ethics. But there are people who are the major stockholders, and they do. And they're bringing down America, they're bringing down our state, they're bringing down our communities. And I think we need to stop supporting them at every level and acting locally. So that's my take on it. Thank you for your time.
Rochelle, next.
a couple things. One, I would like to offer to put together on Bank of America a simple, easy to read brochure with all the info cited that would maybe take 5-10 minutes of your time, because I really hear that you've got a big workload right now, and with all the sources cited so that you can verify the accuracy of it as well. And I also feel like, and this is just my opinion, but I feel like we're starting to repeat ourselves a little bit, and that maybe we'd make better use of our time and Judy's time by maybe,
So, temp check on wrapping up. Any objection to that? So, is there any final comments anyone wants to share, Judy or anyone, before we wrap up? Kiefer, you're no.
Well, I would like to thank both the county administrator and the county treasurer for being gracious enough to provide us a great campsite and a good meeting room. Thank you.